It is 2:30 in Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean. That makes it 1:30 in Jamaica and 12:30 in Belize. Good afternoon and welcome to this Facebook Live edition of Let's Talk Access, a social media program produced and presented by the UWI Open Campus. I am your host, Cleveland Sam. Thank you so much for joining us from wherever in the Caribbean you are this afternoon. I'm excited today because we are talking about accounting and the BSc in Accounting program offered by the UWI Open Campus. I have three special guests who are on the panel today, and they are going to be the ones to tell you all about careers in accounting, as well as specifically the UWI Open Campus Bachelors of Science in Accounting. So let's get right into it. My guests are Sharon Ince Christopher, Program Manager, Academic Programming and Delivery Division at the UWI Open Campus. Sharon, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon, Dr. Sam. Hello, everyone. Welcome.
All right. Kathy-Ann Hewitt, and she's the Executive Director for the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Barbados. Kathy-Ann, good afternoon to you and welcome.
Good afternoon, Dr. Sam, and welcome to everyone who's joining the program.
And we have from Anguilla, Mr. Claudel Romney, and he's a senior member at the BDO Eastern Caribbean. As I said, he's based in Anguilla. Claudel, welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Sam. It's a pleasure to be here on this program, and welcome to everyone who listening. Thank you.
All right. So in order for us to put your particular perspectives in context, let us first of all ask our two foreign guests about the organizations that they work for and what they do. Kathy-Ann, let's start with you.
Okay, I'm the Executive Director of ICAB, which stands for Institute of Chartered Accountants of Barbados. ICAB has been in existence for 47 years. We're the regulator and standard setter for accounting and auditing in Barbados and seek to be recognized globally as a trusted and relevant resource in Barbados, serving the accounting profession and the public interest. ICAB is committed to global best practices and to continuously enhancing the reputation of the accounting profession and the profile of Barbados through effective leadership in key areas, including regulation, advocacy, member services, and active engagement in matters of national interest. We're led by an elected 15-member council, which is headed by our president, Darshni Workman. And as executive director, I'm charged with the management of our programs, supported by the assistant director and the staff of the Institute.
All right, thank you very much. Quite a mouthful about ICAB. And Claudel Romney. Claudel?
I think he's on mute.
Okay, sorry about that.
No
I'm
problem.
a senior partner at BDO Eastern Caribbean. BDO Eastern Caribbean is part of the BDO Worldwide Network. BDO is the 5th largest public accounting firm in the world, $10.3 billion of revenues. That's US dollars, by the way. If it were EC dollars, it would be 28 million, but let's keep it in US. BDO is located in 167 countries, 1,600 cities, over 100,000 staff and partners. It has a large footprint in the Caribbean. BDO sits on the IFAC board with the other big 4 firms. BDO, as we know, is very committed to national development here in this region. It provides the gamut of services, be it accounting, audit, business advisory in the full gamut, tax, consulting, and has a wide variety of clients globally in just about every industry. Very progressive firm, excellent firm. I've been with BDO for the past 8 years and loving it.
Okay, great. And of course, my colleague Sharon, you are the program manager. Tell us, what does a program manager at the Open Campus do?
Thanks, Cleveland. A program manager really does ensure that the program is running smoothly, that everything's ready for delivery. So we take over from where the development staff leave off, and we ensure that students have no issues with registering. When they're in the program, if they do have any issues, we are the ones who are the go-between, more or less, between their facilitators and the university. So we hire the facilitators, and any issues that come up, we would deal with it as well. We monitor the programs while they're being delivered to make sure that everything is running smoothly and that the information for students to succeed is there.
It's a very important cog in the wheel of managing these programs offered by the Open Campus. All right, before I ask my next question, I'm going to read a quotation from the US Bureau of Labor Statistics website, and I quote, "Accountants and auditors prepare and examine financial records, identify potential areas of opportunity and risk, and provide solutions for businesses and individuals. They ensure that financial records are accurate, that financial and data risk are evaluated, and that taxes are paid properly." They also assess financial operations and work to help to ensure that organizations run efficiently, end quote. Kathy and Claudel, why is it important for our people in the Caribbean to study accounting?
Well, in addition to the various criteria that you just mentioned, or the various roles that you just mentioned, accounting is at the base of all companies. So going more broadly than that definition of what accountants do, accounting is a good stepping stone in terms of other career opportunities. So for example, you may start off in accounting, but then having gotten that as a good base, which gives you a good way of understanding businesses, you can then translate into many other roles in organizations. You can be an entrepreneur in terms of managing your own finances, etc. So it gives you a good base and gives you many career options.
If I may add to what Kathy Ann just said, accounting is the language of business, and every business must talk that language. Every business ought to have an accounting function that is mandated by law in most, if not all, countries, especially in the environment that we operate in today with terrorist financing, anti-money laundering, what have you. Accountants determine the financial position of businesses. It's, in my opinion, it's analogous to a doctor. When you go to a doctor, he takes you through various tests to determine your medical health, be it blood tests, CT scans, what have you. Accountants do similar in the financial industry. We want to determine the financial health of a business, and that business might be a sole proprietor, a partnership, corporations, not-for-profits, governments, what have you. And it spans across just about all functions and industries in the world. So it is a profession that I would not dare to say would become obsolete. It's very critical in national development. And it got its boost from the stock market crash back in 1929, when accounting was not really a specific science. Accountants back then did what they wanted, and that led or precipitated the stock market crash. And from that point became the evolution of the Securities Exchange Commission and other agencies that wrote the policies and principles for accounting, so that we can have a solid set of rules for accuracy and correct reporting across the globe. So, a very in-depth and complex discipline.
Indeed. Thank you so much. I'm going to shift my attention for a few moments to my colleague who is the program manager, is Sharon. And Sharon, I want to ask you, first of all, The program that is offered by the Open Campus, the BSc in Accounting, could you give us some information on the structure of the program?
Yeah, sure. So the program is made up of 30 courses, 3 levels. So it's 10 courses at each level. Students enter the program with, well, normal matriculation, which is 5 O levels, including math and English, and 3 A levels. But there's also the mature route as well, so that if you're over the age of 21 and you have 5 years service in the field or something close in the field, you can also matriculate into the program. As I said, it's a 90 credit program, 30 courses. Minimum amount of time, it is a part-time program because we are online. So the minimum time that a student doing around 3 courses a semester would take to complete the program is 4.5 years. It can be fast-tracked, but we caution students that online learning is not as easy as some people think it is. Right. So that you need to take your time and make sure that you're passing, so you excel in the course in your program of choice. Yeah, that's about.
Right. And someone like you would be the person who would be advising students, you should not take more than 3 courses, or you should not take more than 2 courses.
That's right, yes. And then I'd look at your track record and say, okay, well, you think you can handle 5 courses, you're not working. Yeah, sure, go ahead, go for it, Yeah, so it's a minimum of 1 course per semester and a maximum of 5, but anything over 3 has to have the approval of the program manager. Yeah.
Which is Sharon in Christopher.
Yeah, that's right.
Right, so we have dealt with the structure, the duration. Who is the program really targeting? Because most of the Open Campus demographic, they are not 18 and 19-year-olds who just finished CAPE or community college.
That's right, yes. So the Open Campus's average student is between the age of 27 to 35. It's usually persons who went directly into the field or into a program, a career, and they didn't get formal training in it. They didn't get the academic training, but they worked their way through it. So that's why we do have the mature entry route, where you've had years of service in the field and you want to become qualified. So it's usually somebody who's been in the field for a little while, and they realize that the Open Campus gives them the option of studying while working, because all of our classes are online, as I said, 24/7 access, once you have a computer and internet access. We offer both asynchronous and synchronous sessions, but our synchronous sessions tend to be in the afternoon after work, so they would start at around 6 o'clock and be spaced out over the term, so that you can work full-time and study.
I know in the last 18 months, the terms synchronous and asynchronous have become very part of our vocabulary. But for the persons who do not know what these terms mean, can you explain briefly for us?
Sure. Yeah, so asynchronous means that's how you can access it any time of the day. So that if during your lunchtime, you want to study, you're on the beach, you want to study, you could go on and there is material there for you that guides you. There's readings for you to look at, the readings for you to do, videos to look at. There are modules with questions for you to answer. So that's the asynchronous part of the learning exchange. The synchronous part of it is that you have to be there at a specific time, and you have a meeting where, just like this, you're chatting with your course coordinator or your e-tutor, and all of your colleagues are there with you in the class, in a kind of classroom setting, but virtually.
Okay, great.
Dr. Sam?
So go ahead. Yes, I was just going to call on you.
Sure. If I may add, I have had the opportunity to look at the curriculum for the Bachelor's of Science Accounting at UWI. It is very, very impressive. I find it to be comprehensive and in line with today's market and demands. It not only covers the technical accounting disciplines, but it's a wider program. To me, it's almost like a Bachelor of Science plus a part of an MBA program, because it covers not only accounting but sociology, the social sciences, macroeconomics, and organizational behavior. These are some of the disciplines I recall that I have covered in the MBA program, and it's all included here in the Bachelor of Science program, certainly keeping up with the demands of today's market. Very, very impressive.
Great. Well, I'm sure Sharon and her team from the Academic Programming and Delivery Department will take a bow for that, coming from somebody of your stature who have had so many years of experience in the field of accounting. Sharon, in terms of the assessment, because you did mention that this program is 100% online at the Open Campus, how are students assessed for this BSc program?
Okay, so, well, since COVID, all of our programs have gone 100% continuous assessment. This program, however, is slightly different in that the last course that the students will register for is actually a practical course. Throughout the program, there are opportunities to practice, but this specific course was brought in because we want to ensure that when students are finished and they've learned all of their theory, that they can go out in the field and they can perform. So that the last course that they do is a practical where they would have to do an internship with an accounting firm. As I said, it's continuous assessment, 100%. So that is that you would have assignments and group work throughout each of the courses that you would complete, and that would be, so there's no final examinations or anything like that. And that's, even though with COVID, we went 100%, most of the courses were like that before COVID. So there's no final examinations, it's continuous assessment. You have assignments to do, you have group work to do. And then, as I said, the last course is a practical course, so you get some experience in the field.
Right. Kathian, how do you perceive a program like this with a practicum component? I mean, what would be your view on a program like this?
We would definitely be in favor of that kind of a program, because when you speak to employers, that is what they're looking for. They're looking for students who are able to apply the knowledge to the working world. So they don't just want, someone with just that's, just done a program that's strictly academic, but they are looking for that practical side for the student to be able to apply it in a real world situation.
Great.
Well,
Mr. Romney, have you had students coming to you asking to do their practicum at BDO?
Oh, absolutely. BDO plays a very active role across the Caribbean in bringing in students, especially from UWI, to go through that internship. The accounting profession is no different to the law profession or the medical profession, in which, doctors have to go through an approved residency to qualify as a doctor. Lawyers, similarly, must go through the bar. And it's very important that accountants, after completing their Bachelor of Science degree at UWI or wherever, that they get into a comprehensive internship, usually a 2-year period, which is used to qualify them for their, license or certification. Very, very important.
Great stuff. All right, I'm going to read another quotation from the US Bureau of Labor Statistics website, and it says, accountants and auditors typically need at least a bachelor's degree in accounting or related field to enter the occupation. Completing certification in a specific field of accounting, such as becoming a licensed certified public accountant, may improve job prospects. And it goes on to say, some employers prefer to hire applicants who have a master's degree either in accounting or business administration with a concentration in accounting. Is this the case in the industry in Anguilla and in Barbados at the moment, ladies and gentlemen?
If I may, in Anguilla, as well as the Eastern Caribbean, Students come in at the entry level with a Bachelor's of Science in Accounting, and then the practical training starts. We encourage students to immediately pursue certification, be it ACCA, Chartered Accounting, or CPA. You know, either is acceptable. And it is important to get that certification because the experience really brings the technical training out of you. You know, you cannot learn to fly a plane by a manual. You have to get behind the cockpit and put in those hours. Accounting is similar. And video plays a very important role across the entire Caribbean, not only with graduates from UWI, but high school graduates. We do internships to give them an idea what accounting is like, so that they develop that interest and then go on to a UWI to formally study accounting at the bachelor's level. Because, you know, it's a misnomer that, you know, an accountant is, what they call it, a bean counter, and that we're just pushing numbers. But when these students come into our firm and we take them through a summer program, they go like, wow, we weren't aware that accounting covered so many disciplines, so many industries. There's so many parts to it, you know, not only accounting, but auditing, advisory, from IPOs, forensic accounting, you know, the list goes on, several pages. And it's important for one to get that understanding of the profession because it covers the gamut of business.
Okay.
Great.
I'd just like to add, in terms of, you know, doing either the BSc or the Master's in Accounting, what Claudel was talking about in terms of the certification, it's still then important to go on to get certification in a professional accounting program. And what is good if you've done a BSc in accounting or an MBA in accounting is that you probably get a lot of exemptions from those programs, so that, you know, reduces the time it will take to complete them.
Great.
I just wanted to mention too that with the BSc in accounting, we have an agreement with ACCA, so the students would be exempted from the first level of ACCA once they've completed the BSc.
That's great information for the prospective students. And Sharon, I know that applications are open right now for the January intake, yes?
Yes, they are. We do have a cohort coming in January, semester 2. The applications are going to be open until the 15th of December.
Right.
And to start, the new term would start at the end of January 2020. Yeah.
All right. And if you're watching this broadcast and you're interested in applying for this program, you can log on to www.apply.open.uwi.edu and apply right now. As my colleague said, you have until the 15th of December to submit your application for the BSc in accounting or any of our other undergraduate programs. Yesterday was the deadline for our postgraduate programs, the 30th of November. All right, so I want to speak about money. I know for some reason people in the Caribbean do not like to speak about money, but Sharon, while you're on, I'm going to ask you first of all, what sort of cost is associated with pursuing this program at the Open Campus?
All right, okay. So our undergraduate courses are, most of them are 3 credits. For a 3-credit course, it's the equivalent of $360 for the course. So as I said, for this program, it's 30 courses at $360, the equivalent of the course.
Okay. All right. And of course, we do have payment plans to make the courses, the programs affordable for prospective students.
Yes, we do. Right now, because again, our previous payment plan was that you have over the course of the term to complete your payment. So it's 3 payments at the end of each one of the months make up the term. Because of COVID and the hardship that we understand that everybody's going through, we've actually extended that to 4 payments so that the system works out what days you would have to pay depending on when you apply for the payment plan. But you can make 4 equal payments towards your tuition.
All right, I'm going to continue on the issue of money, but from a different perspective now to my other 2 guests, income and living. So again, according to the U.S. Labor Bureau of Statistics, the employment of accountants and auditors is projected to grow by 7% from 2020 to 2030, as about fast as all average occupations. However, the median annual wage for accountants and auditors was $73,560 in May 2020. What sort of living can accountants in the Caribbean make, Kathy and Claudel?
That's a hard one to answer. If someone is starting out, we're certainly not up at the 73,000 US that is being quoted on the website you were looking at. I would say if someone was starting out, like joining an auditing firm at an entry level, you'd be looking at maybe, I don't know, in Barbados, 1,000 US a month. As a late
2,000 Barbados dollars.
Yeah.
So that would be like 2,600 and something EC dollars for my colleague from Anguilla.
Right. And then, but obviously then once you've qualified, then the scope becomes that much larger in terms of what you can look at making. All
right. Claudel, you're in the business itself. You are you're a senior partner at a firm. What sort of living, what sort of salaries can entry-level persons look forward to?
Salaries vary from jurisdiction to jurisdiction, Dr. Sam, and it's based on the cost of living, and certainly on the supply and demand. Anguilla is perhaps much higher than the other Eastern Caribbean countries, being an overseas territory of the UK. Our starting salaries for someone out of college would be certainly over 2,000 US, perhaps more towards 2,500 US. The accounting profession provides a lot of opportunities, and it's the profession where you can fast track to senior positions within the organization. And one who has studied accounting, moreover, if they become certified, which I would always recommend, should be aspiring to be a CFO within small, medium, or even larger corporations. And the larger the corporation, the industry that is in will be factors in determining the salaries. But it's a profession that pays very well.
Right.
It is hard work. It is complex, and it's easy to master. But going up the career ladder, there are great opportunities, because when one becomes certified, a lot of accountants enter public accounting, where they gain experience across a cross-section of industries, and they have applied in-depth knowledge of be it the IFRSs or whatever accounting policies, and they're well-trained in a rigorous environment where continuous professional education is required. And then when they migrate from public accounting into a private company, they can do that at a much higher level, perhaps, than someone who who went up the ranks within that same industry from department to department. Because in the public sphere, one gets exposed to many different areas of accounting at a very, very fast pace and across various industries and functions.
Great. So I know I heard Katyan said, wow, when you spoke about the salaries in Anguilla, but just to say that, I mean, like from working across the region, I know that the salaries in Anguilla generally tend to be higher, among the highest in the Eastern Caribbean for sure. So Claudel, you may have a slew of applications coming to you in the next couple of weeks or days, or maybe hours.
In fact, that's an important point. You know, I'm excited about your program at UWI, and we certainly at BDO would like to partner with you in any way we can on that program, because I think demand for accountants, certainly in our neck of the woods over here in the Leeward Islands, the demand certainly exceeds the supply. And we are forced to bring in qualified accountants from farther afield, typically from the Philippines and Sri Lankas, even Pakistans or what have you, because, you know, we do need a cadre of accountants that are trained, experienced, certified, and that can hit the deck running. And entry-level accountants, you know, upon completing a bachelor's degree, it probably takes about 2 years training to fully get them up to speed, because the audit process within a global accounting firm like BDO is very comprehensive, very complex, and one has to work with it over a period of time with a lot of training to become very proficient in it. And so we must have a mix of entry level and senior persons and experienced managers with 5 or 10 years of experience to satisfy the standards of field work that is required on any audit assignment.
Great. That's a really good point for me to segue to Katyan. What is the interest in accounting being like in Barbados, Katyan? It's
still very high. It's seen as, I guess, a profession that can open doors in terms of a wide scope of positions. So we have a joint arrangement with ACCA. And once you're in the ACCA program, you need to be a student member of ICAB. So there's definitely an interest in accounting in Barbados, I would say.
All right, Sharon, how has the interest in the actual program been at the Open Campus?
Actually, it's one of the programs that we do have a lot of interest in. It's one of our best subscribed programs, undergraduate programs. And I think it's, as my colleagues have been saying, is that you know, there's a lot you can do with a degree in accounting, because yes, you should go on and become a professional in the field, but you can also assist and work with small businesses to keep their books, to do their audits, to do their accounting, their taxes, and things like that. So you can actually, you know, even while you're training to become an accountant, start working as an entrepreneur, which is something that everybody wants these days, you know, to be able to make money as quickly as possible. So if you're making money while you're studying, and what you're doing is helping you to learn and apply what you are learning, I mean, that's the best of all worlds. Yes. So it is a very well subscribed program.
Right. And very well, I'm going to go right into the whole issue of careers now, because from my research, there are so many careers that someone with a BSc in accounting program can look forward to. Tell us about some of these careers, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, if I may, the accounting covers all industries, right? Just about every business. So an accountant can make the choice of the industry that they would like to be in. if they like the hospitality industry, there's a need there, aviation, you name it. That's the beauty of accounting. And there are various jobs. You can start as an entry-level accountant. You can move up to an officer, internal auditor, accounts manager, finance manager, on to CFO, VP of finance. The jobs are endless, and it can be, as I mentioned, in any industry. It can be within government organization, not-for-profits, small or medium firms, entrepreneurships, the larger corporations, listed companies, global companies. The sky is the limit. And I may say, accounting is sometimes thought of as numbers crunching and making sure that the financial statements are correct. Yes, that is true. But an accountant is a trusted advisor to a business. An accountant not only compiles the numbers or audits the numbers, he sits with management and goes through a comprehensive analysis of the numbers vis-a-vis the industry, competitive analysis, along with a management letter of various strategies that the client should embark upon to take their business to the next level, or to correct internal controls, to lead to better governance. It's advisory, across the board. And within the accounting function, one can be an accountant, an auditor. There are various areas of accounting. It can be forensic accounting, governmental accounting, cost accounting, financial accounting, various layers of accounting applied within various companies across a broad spectrum of industries. So, we deem it to be the profession that withstands recessions, because in a recession, an accountant can concentrate on providing services in bankruptcies, liquidations, receivership, court administrations. So when there's a global recession, it may not necessarily impact the accountant. It can withstand, pandemics, because whether businesses are closed, yes or no, their accounting records still have to be compiled and they still need to be audited. Yes, we have become creative in using computers, the internet, portals, different forms of communication, but the work has to be done nonetheless. When hurricanes,
by someone.
Yeah, absolutely, Dr. Sam. When hurricanes hit our area, which we all are very familiar with, and many businesses are closed down, the accountants are called out to help with the claims, the damage claims, the business interruptions, and what have you. And in today's environment where there are many risks, and money laundering, terrorist financing, and the like, accountants are called upon to look at businesses to ensure that they have proper policies in place. So the list goes on, and it covers various functions and disciplines. It weathers many setbacks, recessions, pandemics, what have you. So it adds to the attraction of the profession.
I was here smiling and saying, you guys are there whether things are good, bad, or ugly.
That's a good way to put it, Dr. Sam.
All right. And you made some very important points, and I want to take up one with Kathy and Hewitt in terms of the accountant seen as the trusted advisor to the CEO and the board. Catherine, is that how it is viewed here in Barbados?
I think sometimes people are a bit short-sighted in that they view having to get their books audited as, I don't know, just like a regulatory requirement, as opposed to something that really adds value. But depending on the organization, you will find that accountants can be at different levels and can be regarded as those strategic advisors, or even in terms of the actual CEO may actually have an accounting background. So it's not that that person is still working in accounting, but they are in a position that they can accept the advice or understand the advice that's being provided by the accountant. But I think it just varies from business to business in terms of how the accountant is actually viewed.
Right. I want to stay on the issue of careers in accounting, because I'm curious as well to know, how is the accounting profession, and I mean, any one of you guys can respond, how is the accounting profession selling itself to, let's say, students in secondary schools or students at the sixth form level or at community colleges, whether it's in Barbados or in Anguilla or in St. Vincent or in Trinidad, so that, because again, just providing another statistic, 135,000 openings for accountants and auditors are projected each year in the United States. And I know that Claudel did say that there is a shortage in the region where he's from, so that they have to be importing accountants from far and away. But what is the accounting profession in the region selling itself to students?
If I may, annually we have career fairs at the high schools at the national level. The accounting firms attend those career fairs and give out thought literature that students can take away so that they can get a better understanding of accounting and the depth of application of accounting principles. There's a financial month in February, certainly across the Eastern Caribbean, driven by the central bank. And I believe it's a week-long session, various finance and accounting topics that gives the wider community an understanding as to the critical and strategic role that accounting plays, not only in businesses, but national development.
Yeah, we also take part in, there are also career fairs in Barbados, and we also take part in those in terms of the one at UWI and also the one that the guidance counselors put on. So we do have outreach, and we also have, at ICAP, we also have an education and student services committee where we look at, doing activities geared specifically towards accounting students.
Great. All right. And just to
as you know, Dr. Sam, we do as well have our career fairs, and we've been doing them virtually over the past few years to attract students as well.
Of course, in fact, there was one last year hosted by the Barbados Accreditation, last week actually, hosted by the Barbados Accreditation Council virtually. That one was really cool. They use a new platform that most of us were not accustomed to, but it turned out really nice. And we were able to participate in that as well. So just to remind viewers that you can send your questions or comments, or if you have clarification, you can post those in the comment section on Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube. And to remind viewers and prospective students that you can apply to the Open Campus for the January intake, January 2022, and the deadline is December 15th for undergraduate applications. You can go to our website, www.apply.open.uwi.edu. All right, so, sorry? Oh, I wanted to ask, what are the current trends, new trends in the accounting profession, Kathy or Mr. Romney? Are there new trends in the accounting professions that may be attractive to younger people?
Certainly, I would say in terms of the structure of the programs, it's going like more case oriented than just, like just regurgitation of material. So there's a lot of focus on the application of the knowledge that you will have gained in the various courses. There's also, obviously with the pandemic, it's increased the level of digital transformation, and being able to use portals, et cetera, for uploading of documents, reviewing of files, that sort of thing. So it's definitely more computer driven than it would have been, say, before. Excuse me a minute, I unfortunately just have to just nip off for 1 second. I'll just block.
No problem, understood.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
If I would add to what Kathy Ann just said, we are in a digital era, and that is taking center stage. And Kathy Ann mentioned the portals, and in our industry, information is loaded up by the clients onto portals. We upload and download that information, and it facilitates the efficiency on the jobs. We're moving into a new era where digital currencies are creeping up, blockchain, cryptocurrencies, what have you. So the accountants have to move to another level of education in terms of what are these products, how can they be assessed, valued, what are the risks, what are the scams, and what impact it has on the accounting profession. It certainly does make it more complex. It keeps us constantly in training to keep up with these industry trends. We're beginning to see the emergence of all kinds of programs by the Microsofts and the like that go into the computer system of a client and perform a number of analyses, which the ordinary accountant or the auditor would have spent several weeks, if not months, compiling or assessing. And normally we go into a client, we pull a sample, we assess that sample, we extrapolate that to the entire population, and then we draw a conclusion on that. I guess it works over the years, but with technology now, you can sweep through a client data and in essence do 100% testing, exceptional testing, So the whole area of IT, information technology, is not a black box within the accounting profession. The accountant has to understand information flows within the firm. Those have to be tested. You just cannot rely on a computer that it does everything correct. Human beings program the computers or can manipulate the computers. So we have to have a general understanding of computers and bring in IT specialists as part of the accounting team to get into that black box and certify to us that, it appears to be working as mandated. So it's a changing profession. When it comes to the international financial reporting standards, these change as we speak. And we as practicing accountants, whether in public or private industry, we have to stay on top of those changes. Those are the book of rules. Those are the policies and laws of accounting. And if you do not know them or stay on top of them, then you cannot be as proficient on the job as you should be. So when you're in the accounting profession, it's like you never left UWI, so to speak.
You're always learning.
You're always learning, you're always studying, and every month you're going through training, and you have to stay up to date. And that's what makes it exciting.
Yeah.
You don't fall into a rut.
I just wanted to add to that, two of the courses in the program are actually Management Information Systems 1 and Accounting Information Systems. I was fortunate to be a tutor in both of those courses. And what we try to do is to stay on top of what's changing. So one of our projects was actually on Bitcoins, so that the students were introduced to Bitcoins and how to account for them. And also we wanted to ensure that even though you bring in an IT person onto your team, when you reach into the world of work, you know what they're doing. You could decipher for yourself if they're doing something good, or if they're telling you what they think you want them to tell you, or you can actually go into the black box and do a little troubleshooting for yourself as a student of the Open Campus, from the Open Campus.
In fact, another area taking center stage is green technology and the risks that many companies face. And you might say, what this has to do with accountants? But accountants have to deal with risks across the gamut, because not addressing certain risks can impact an entity as a going concern. There can be huge penalties, what have you. Another area that's taking center stage is global data privacy. There are huge penalties coming out of Europe for non-compliance with data privacy laws. So businesses have to stay on top of that. Accountants, auditors ought to be knowledgeable to ensure that those risks are properly addressed within the organizations so that they remain going concerns.
Great. So I'm really happy to hear from my colleague that we are actually on top of this. And I know some time ago, when those rules changed, Sharon, that there was also some changes to our syllabus with respect to the international accounting.
That's right.
Yes.
Yes.
Great. There's a question for you from on Facebook, Sharon. Does the BSc program facilitate ACCA courses on the syllabus? I know you did mention this briefly, but can you explain how this works with respect to the exemptions?
Right. Okay. So it doesn't facilitate ACCA courses, but what it does is when you've completed the BSc in accounting, you will be exempt. We've already made you don't once you apply to ACCA, you would automatically go into level 2 because you'd be exempt from level 1. So it's two different trains of qualification. One is an academic train, and then one is a professional, what they call the professional train. So if you go the academic train, then you do a BSc, and then you do a master's, and then you do a PhD. If you go to the professional train, then you do level 1, level 2, level 3, up to level 4. And level 4 would be the equivalent of a master's or pre-PhD in ACCA. So the bachelor's is going to exempt you. You don't have to do level 1 ACCA once you've completed the bachelor's.
Great. So there you go. There's exemptions means money. It means that you do not have to pay for that entire year of ACCA courses.
That's right.
Right. We only have 7 minutes. Believe it or not, time is really flying. And I want to go into entrepreneurship because the University of the West Indies and the Open Campus as well, we have the entrepreneurial thrust. And one of the things I wanted to ask, what are the opportunities for entrepreneurship in accounting, in the accounting profession? Claudel, I'm going to throw this out to you first.
Oh, absolutely. Businesses vary in complexity and size, and there is opportunity for every accountant out there. They need not be part of a global accounting firm. As countries, for example, here in Anguilla, we are introducing goods and service tax, which means that a number of businesses have to change the way they keep records, right? Because being a zero tax jurisdiction, as we are here in Anguilla, proper record keeping at smaller companies, can be improved. So there's opportunity in entrepreneurship for accountants to go in and help these businesses across the board to upgrade their record keeping so that they can be compliant with the new GST legislation. And businesses, smaller businesses and entrepreneurs, new entrepreneurs, they tend to commingle their personal assets with the business operations. An accountant can assist those businesses in separating the personal from the business. It's an ongoing learning process. And I suffice to say that certainly in our neck of the woods where there are no taxes, the smaller businesses or the new entrepreneurs tend to keep their record keeping to their bank accounts. Once there's money in the bank, we're doing okay. We'll sort out the records in the back. And, you know, it might be taxing for a certified accountant to carry out those functions because those businesses have to be handheld and taught. It's a learning process. So there are many opportunities in entrepreneurship, even at the budgeting stage. You know, what we do here at Video, we align ourselves with the entrepreneurial department. And new startups would visit my office, and it's pro bono, and present a business plan. And we indeed would look at it and sort of kick the tires. Have you considered this? You know, you've left out half of the expenses, you know. Tell us about your marketing program, you know, what analysis you've done. And we go back and forth with these reiterations until they refine their business plan. And then they can take it to the bank or the development bank or some grant agency that gives grants for new startups and get them on the way. So it's a whole learning process.
All right, I want to say, Kathy and Hewitt, I know you have to leave, so thank you so much. You just want to give us some parting words?
Just to say that we totally are in support of the Open Campus program. It's really a good opportunity then in terms of persons who are still working full-time to be able to still get their accounting degree. And it is a good stepping stone then in terms of going on to doing a professional qualification, as you'll get quite a few exemptions.
All right, thank you so much to you,
Okay,
Kathy
thank you.
and ICAB for joining us this afternoon. We hope to see you some other time.
Thanks for having me. Take care.
Yes, most welcome. All right, and we continue for another 3 minutes, and I'm going to ask my colleague, Sharon Innes Christopher, to just come back and tell us in terms of the entry requirements and the deadline dates for persons who are looking to enter this program in January 2022.
Okay, great. Yes. So, O-levels, for those coming out of high school, O-levels and A-levels, 5 O-levels, including English and mathematics, 4 A-level, sorry. But then we, as I did mention, we have the mature route entry, which is 21 years and over with at least 5 years experience. The experience could be in the field of accounting, but it also could be in another industry because you want to do a career change. You've just heard all of this exciting information and figured they can make some serious money doing accounting and you want to change careers. You've had 5 years service, you're over 21, you can apply to enter into the program.
Great. And final words from you, Mr. Romney?
Well, congratulations to UWI in the part that it is playing in the region and throughout the world for a university that falls within the 1.5% worldwide and have the kind of curriculums that I have seen and at the price. That's a real steal. That is unbelievable. I would encourage many students to take advantage of this in a top tier university in the region that understands our needs and is up to date with the latest technology, the latest training, what have you, so that you can go out there in the world and hit the deck running with the A1 education. It's commendable. So whatever part we can play here in the Eastern Caribbean as a BDO in partnering with UWI, this can be ongoing. Let's talk about it, and we're here to assist.
Great. Partnership is what life is about, right?
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Final words, Sharon Ennis Christopher.
Okay, applications are open until December the 12th for our cohort that's going to start at the end of January 2022, and we are looking forward to welcoming you to the Open Campus family.